Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Real good. What a nice sleep.
Yeah.
Will, you were snoring a little bit last night. I had to turn you over a couple of times.
I know.
Yes, and I had no covers on me. That was weird.
No,
Yeah.
you didn't.
Yeah.
But I love that extra supersized Charlie and the Chocolate Factory bed we got, huh?
Hey, be honest, what was the camera for? Because I noticed a camera this morning when I woke up.
That was my bad. That was my bad. I forgot to take it down.
Okay.
Anyway, let's do a podcast, huh? Welcome to SmartLess.
Yeah.
SmartLess.
How's everybody doing?
I'm great. I haven't even had a chance to open up my breakfast bar.
A little ASMR. Yeah.
This is Papa Steve's No Junk Raw Protein Bars, which I'm real keen on. And my address you can find in the chat.
Jesus.
Okay. Have you guys had your breakfast yet?
I have.
I have not. I'm just empty.
What'd you have, Willie?
I had 1 cup of oatmeal made with water and some berries.
Do they let you out for an hour of exercise each day?
Yeah. I had a few berries with it, and then a drizzle of maple syrup, pure maple syrup, for
I
taste.
won't say drizzle ever again.
Yeah, and then I had 5 scrambled eggs.
Jesus, my chest hurts. 5 eggs?
Why your chest shouldn't hurt? It's not bad for your chest.
You know, I think there was one report that said that eggs are not cholesterol problems anymore, and I love that report as much as you do, but I'd love to hear a second.
Well, my doctor told me that. So
Who's the guy you found online?
Put it this way: what's your cholesterol and what's mine? And you're the one who like eats all this shit. And what's yours and what's mine?
My cholesterol
mine's
is
really bad.
horrendous. Yeah,
Mine
because it's in
is
my
too.
family.
Yeah.
Mine's 90.
I will tell you, I just had one of those full body scans,
Yeah,
and
no brain,
yeah,
completely empty.
Sir, can we talk to you for a second?
Yeah,
it's just one microchip up there.
Wow.
they said it's not. There's no heart. They just found a box with a picture of a heart in it. Well, no. So did you get the results back?
Yes, thank you. The results were fine.
Oh, good.
Everything is fantastic, and yeah, I'm very pleased because you never know with those things. You could get so your appointment to review your scan results, or is it tomorrow at 3:00? Okay, so tomorrow at 3:00, I'm going to find out if I've got something I've got to.
And you walk in and they got
worry
6
about the rest
doctors
of
in
my
there.
life.
They got 6 guys in there. Like
They'd actually like to do this in person.
the team needs to speak to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's the word.
Hey, Jason, can you clear your schedule for the next 4 months?
and do you have a wife, girlfriend, best friend, something that can maybe drive
Are you religious at all? Because we got a guy here on standby.
No, it's a real. We were talking about it, you and me, Will, the other day, and you were like, well, I don't know. I mean, do you want to know? Do you want? I was like, yeah, I do if it's good news, and thank God it was good. So
That's good.
Did you get Sean? Did you get the shingles vaccine?
I did.
I did.
Yeah.
yeah.
was-
Did you, Willie?
I have not.
Okay.
You have to. You must.
Have you had? Now, what is it? If you've had chickenpox, you're susceptible to shingles, or vice versa?
Yeah, it's already living inside you if you had chickenpox, the shingles.
So if you haven't had chickenpox, you're good. You don't need the shingles vaccine.
I don't know. Don't get medical advice from this show.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I don't
Change the
know.
channel, everybody.
Yeah.
Sean, how often would you say in any given week do you have a conversation at least with a doctor?
Oh God, on a weekly basis for sure.
So it's at least once a week.
At least once a week, you're
For sure.
interfacing with the doctor via
yeah, for
text
sure.
or call or or in
But
person.
why? Because you're concerned, or you just want to stay ahead of
I want to
things?
be one of those people that catch something before it happens.
Right. So you just workshop things that could go wrong
Yep,
with
that's
you
right.
and what to do to be ready.
That's right.
You ever thought about just living life and enjoying it? Or
I'll take photos of shit and text them and all that stuff.
You could zip into a bubble, maybe, and just kind of have Scotty roll you around.
From room to room. Yeah, I'm not above it. I'll do that. You know what, though? We were talking about anesthesia, Jason, me and you, I think, at dinner last week.
God, I could go for some propofol right now.
Wouldn't it be great? And we were talking about isn't it fascinating? How did somebody discover
Yeah, they can just switch you off.
anesthesia? Like, who do you test that on?
Right. We're going to bring you as close to death as possible.
Getting that
Yeah.
just right was probably challenging.
Yeah.
That's too much. We
Yeah.
lost them.
Yeah.
Or too little, you can see them screaming as they amputate the wrist.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Well, I tell you when you don't want some propofol is when our guest is performing.
Great
Because you want to be wide. You want to be wide awake for this
Okay.
person's work. And I tell you, millions of people have been wide awake watching this guy. He's been, I'm going to say this, he's been dazzling people for a long time.
Wow.
His
David Copperfield.
Well, his
David Blaine.
I will just say, Jason, you might want to be careful because this person knows a lot of your secrets.
Oh.
Okay? This person knows
Papa?
This person knows a lot of the stuff that you've
Papa?
been up to, especially recently, because this person is somebody who has been in and out of your world. I'll just say this. This is, I always feel like with my guests, it's hard to start naming their credits because you're just you're going to go, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Why is this person my guest then? You say, I know this person.
You do. And they could be your guest because I wanted to kind of surprise you. Because this is somebody who's been doing the kinds of films that Jay, this is the kind of thing for you that fits in. Like, they're doing the kind of thing that the tastemakers like, and like all those kind of words that you
how
like.
much disdain he has.
I know.
For that.
and because there are films in there, this is somebody who's been nominated for Academy Awards, Golden Globe Awards, BAFTAs, Olivier Awards.
I don't know anybody.
He's done television. He's played the Pope. He's been in Sherlock Holmes. He's been in Talented Mr. Hey Jude Law. And I was wanting to get to, and he's Jason's co-star and collaborator on Black Rabbit. It's Jude Law, everyone.
Good morning, my friend.
Hi, Jude.
Good morning.
And he should be your guest, but I wanted him because I wanted to surprise you, JB, with your guy.
Buddy.
Yes.
God damn it, this is great. Guys, get ready to just fall in love and clear out, make room for a new best friend. There's really, Jude, first of all, welcome. There's just nobody I'm more excited about as a new person in my life, like for the last 10 years than Jude Law.
The feeling
He's been Jude.
Incredible.
He has been singing your praises since you guys started working together. And I'm honestly not making it up. He cannot speak more highly about it, and he has generally disdain for people, as you know.
Yeah.
I broke through that.
And you somehow
I like 5 people in the world, and there's 3 on the screen right now.
yeah.
I'm going. We finished just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm genuinely going through withdrawals. It's been. I mean, it was a long shoot, so when it starts to become part of your daily routine, and dare I say, you not take it for granted, but you just you've been doing it for a few months, and it's just it's what you do every day. And man, I'm finding it hard. It's been a bit bumpy coming out. How about you?
Yeah, it's like on that project, it was like waking up in your house each day and just like hanging out with your family, and it's just so easy. And then you're gone from your family, and you start to miss them.
Yeah, it's a very odd part of what we do, right? Because I was trying to explain this to someone. It's like most people have their first day on a job, like, in their 20s or 30s, and maybe they change their job once, like in their 40s. We change a job 3 times a year
crazy.
sometimes.
Right.
Like a whole new group of people. Hi, hello, I'm Jude.
Right.
Nice to meet you.
Well, what's so unusual is that Jason has allowed himself to get attached to you, because I have heard him describe, and this is true. This is true. He described recently to somebody, and this really, again, is going to give you a lot of info about who JB. He talks about how when he starts a job with people, he tells himself not to get too attached because he knows he's not going to see them again, and so he builds in a distance with people so that he won't get hurt. Am I right, JB?
Ish. It's not as much of a defense mechanism as just like a practicality. It's like, well, we're going to never see each other again, but there's a necessary bonding that needs to happen to really make the work enjoyable and effective. And so, it's an odd thing.
I've actually given young actors that advice sometimes, because I remember when I was in my early 20s starting out.
You say, don't fall in love with me.
You kind of, you kind of walk away from the film thinking, I've just made 50 best friends and we're gonna see each other every week. And then nothing happens and you feel slightly like heartbroken.
Yeah.
So you gotta, I'm like, they're not gonna be your best friends. You're gonna work together. It's gonna be
the good news in this business is you actually do have a realistic chance of seeing those people again, though, on another project. Or
if you're as old as we are.
On a podcast. Yeah. Now, before we get going, I've seen Jude's film that is coming out, depending on when this airs. It's called The Order. And I've seen it twice in the last 3 days because they very nicely asked me to introduce it at some screening the other day. This movie, Jude's the lead in it. It's also with Nicholas Hoult and Journey Smollett, and it's directed by Justin Kurzel. Guys, if you like A Bag of Money and a Gun, and something that is shot like one of those Sidney Lumet films, it's just, this movie is so goddamn good. He plays an FBI agent that is after a white supremacist gang up in the Pacific Northwest. It's a true story, happens back in like the late 70s, early 80s, I think, Jude. And it's just badass. Bank robberies, and it's just, go see it. It's called The Order. It's fucking
I haven't
can't wait to see that.
I haven't seen it and haven't seen the trailer. I saw the one sheet. It looks really, just the poster alone looked really cool. And, and I think that you're like holding a gun in it or something. Like there's.
I'd see it 100 more times.
Talk a little bit, just if you can, just because we're on this, Jude, talk a little bit about The Order and how it kind of came into your world and what it was about it that you're like, oh yeah, this is something I've got to do. Because I don't necessarily associate you with as a sort of like a gun wrangling, like, you know what I mean?
I hadn't played a part like it, and it came my way through my production company, and it was just one of those. It was so full of potential. It had this incredible true story that I hadn't heard of, an awful lot of people hadn't heard of. It had all this relevance to today and the sort of divisive society that we're living in and that we're seeing around the world, and then it's also wrapped up in a brilliant cat and mouse thriller kind of genre film, and like Jason said, it's reminded me of those movies, those kind of crowd pleasers that I used to go see when I was a kid with the great filmmakers of Lumet and Friedkin. And it's funny, isn't it, how it's the same with other genres, I suppose, but those kind of movies were at once with Hackman and Newman and people like that in them, so popular, and suddenly they kind of lost their edge, maybe. But anyway,
no idea why, right? I mean, like French Connection, like what they don't make those movies anymore, and those used to be like the blockbusters. Why or Dog Day Afternoon? What
I
happened?
think we do. Well, I think first of all, I think we do know, and they tried even into the '90s. I was thinking about Ronin, that great De Niro Frankenheimer movie, amazing. Again, trying to extend that idea, even Out of Sight with Clooney and those guys in Soderbergh,
or Out of the Furnace, the Christian Bale movie.
Yeah,
with
like
KCS.
all those movies tried. But I think that what happened was, and I think I mentioned this before, we've spent the last at least decade kind of under the tyranny of IP.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
These films that were made, all the studios owned all this IP, and they're like, how can we squeeze as much as we can out of this IP? Whether it's
trying to hedge
for
their
people
bet,
like
right?
Sean and Scotty ruined the movie business because that's
fault,
what
Sean.
they wanted.
Yeah.
These
I think they're trying to hedge their bet and they're like,
I hope they save the planet Lindalore because that's where they,
Careful, Jude's got a Star Wars thing coming up.
Yes,
So
it's called, I can't wait. It's called Skeleton Crew. I can't wait.
Excluding Jude, I didn't talk about Star Wars, not Jude's Star Wars. Anyway, I think that is why, but I think you're right. There's an appetite for this kind of thing now.
Well, they're assuming they're going to get a built-in audience with this existing IP, and so these original things are sort of put on the back burner. But my God, just a pure satisfying experience of going to see, a caper. Or a thriller or something with just a true beginning, middle, and end where you get invested with these characters and there's a sticky plot. And I'm like, why do I need some dude flying around on top of it all?
Sean?
But it goes full circle, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people come, they'll always come back to it. It's like vinyl, right? Everyone comes back to vinyl.
You hope. You hope.
Yeah.
Hopefully this one will start. You know what? Guess what? It's the same thing with music. My kids listen to all this music that's very good, but it all comes out of electronic interface as opposed to like plugging in an instrument and like you hear a snare drum or you hear a guitar. I mean, I don't even sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but I miss the sound of instruments in music. Hopefully that comes back as well.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
I think it does come back. I mean, you're talking a lot about, I suppose, mainstream pop music. There is a lot. There is a huge appetite for, and there's a very thriving indie music. Certainly, I'm like such an old school '90s dinosaur indie fan, but that has kind of come back. There's a lot of guitar driven music out there that's excellent. A lot of great American bands, and
So, Jude, how are you today?
Hey, F you, Sean.
Sean, go fuck yourself. Hey, do you guys want to hear my impression of Sean and Scotty going to the movies again?
Yeah, please.
I hope that they find. I hope he knows that
should got two of those.
His dad actually came from Scala Score. Do you know that his dad was in the other, and he came from Scala Score too.
Yeah. By the way, we just watched Alien Romulus again.
Yeah.
That
Again.
Like, that mythology is so
Where
great.
does that sit in the order of the Alien? Yeah.
It comes before the original in the 70s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or right after. I'm sorry.
Have you watched the original again recently?
Yes,
My God,
it's
that holds
incredible.
up. And like the design for it. Although who was it who was watching it recently and they said they paused it and zoomed in on a little area in behind, I think, Ian Holm.
Yes.
And it was basically an old speaker turned inside out or upside down and sprayed white or something.
Yes. It's really cool. And in Romulus, the sets they made look like the 80s because I misspoke. It comes after the original. Sorry, in between the original. But anyway,
in that early Alien,
are you a fan?
I love Alien. Yeah,
it's so good.
I'm a big science fiction fan.
Where are you right now? Are you hotel? Are you home?
I'm in a hotel in Beverly Hills. I'm
fantastic.
in Los Angeles for a while, promoting and
Yeah, he is humping. This guy's got stamina like you cannot believe. He's not going to stop until December.
I've heard, again, I don't want to get too much, because we do love the Black Rabbit. We want to talk about it. We're all so excited for Black Rabbit.
There's time to talk about that. That's a year from now.
I will say, again, this is the highest compliment from JB. He talked about your stamina and your ability to show up on set every day and deliver in every way. I've never seen him so impressed. And as a producer, I've never seen him so impressed, Jude. Honestly, again, I'm going out of my way here, but it's so true.
The joy.
I need your notes on episode 3 and 4. As soon as if you can turn those around to me, Jude.
Let's not turn this into a work session, okay?
Let's talk. Let's just hash it out now.
Okay, well, Jude, let's talk early days as you started as a performer. So we know where you've been and where you are now, but let's flash back to when you were a kid and the first time you said, "Mom, Dad, I want to perform," or somebody said, "Jude, you need to perform." What was the thing? Was it were you attracted to it? Did somebody notice it in you? What was the thing? How did it all
It just sort of occurred because my parents were teachers. This is in the 70s in Southeast London, and they had a passion for theatre. So they were members of a local theatre company, and they would put on plays. And I grew up in a house where I remember there were always, the kitchen was full of people rehearsing, and or I'd come down and half our furniture would be gone because they'd be using it for on a set in the play that they were putting on. And so it was just a big. And I just remember loving watching adults rehearse and goof about. It looked like it was a dialogue. It was a language that made sense to me, and I felt very comfortable in it. So really, honestly, it was like a kind of, what's the right word, segue as opposed to a kind of decision. I got involved the older I got and did plays, and I joined a company as a kid.
Brothers or sisters?
I had a big sister who she performed too, but she's a painter.
I thought that was the name of the theater company. I thought Jason was like Brothers and Sisters Theater Company.
Right. Be a good one.
Yeah, it is a good name.
And she's a painter, yeah?
She's a painter, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the decision, honestly, was just, when there was a moment when I got offered a job in a TV show. I was about 17, and had to make the decision of leaving school, moving out. And they just sort of knew that was going to happen, and they made me promise if it didn't work out, I'd go back to school, and I was like, of course. And but they were incredibly supportive.
So wait, did you not finish high school like me?
No, didn't finish.
Nice.
Wow.
No, I didn't.
This is great.
Finish.
What I'm realizing also about your friendship with JB is that he hasn't asked you any questions about your life in all the time that you've known. No, it's fine.
Jude, what's your last name?
He's like, do you have a sister? Did you finish high school? How the fuck would you not know that already?
Well, I'm not in
but
there
anyway.
on the guy's jock all day on the fucking set. You know, we got work
human,
to do.
It's called just human interaction. It's just called being interested in somebody
No,
else
I
other
gotta
than
scroll
yourself.
through my phone in between takes.
Jason and I stayed in character the whole time.
Oh my
We only talked.
Oh my God.
I will be honest. It was kind of weird when he shaved the beard because he'd been my big brother with the beard. And
Yeah.
like we've been hugging and fighting and.
Yeah.
It's been full on, and then suddenly he appeared, and he was Jason Bateman.
Yeah, TV
Freaked me
Jason
out.
Bateman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
God, you guys did so much storytelling together. So,
Oh, God, Will. And we will be right back.
And now back to the show.
So Jude, but that decision to go do a television program or stay in school, when I hear you say it and I think about wanting to be a performer being 17, like that's a kind of an easy decision. Like, hey, do you want to go do it? Yeah. Or do you want to stay in school? I really love school.
Yeah, when did you know it would that you were safe, that it was actually going to be something that could provide an income for you?
Yeah. Honestly, not until I was in my early 20s and I'd done a movie or two and it really,
What was your first one? What was your first film?
So my first film was a movie called Shopping, and it was about car thieves, and that was in the early 90s. And then I did a film, another English film, but a period film called Wilde, about Oscar Wilde, and Stephen Fry played Oscar Wilde, and I played his boyfriend, Bosie Douglas, who was a nasty piece of work. And around then, I'd done a lot of theatre in the film. Yeah, I guess around then, I sort of thought, this is a job.
When was the move? Were you were still in England at that point?
Yeah.
Well, Wild, that was the first, like, you got some recognition for that performance in Wild. That kind of like put you up a notch.
Yeah, I got those, newcomer awards.
Right.
And welcome to the gang awards kind of thing.
Yeah. That's kind of good, though. I mean, that's kind of when you're a young actor. I mean, it's meaningful, yeah?
Totally. But you know how it is. There's still that funny feeling of, God, I just want to get another job. I just like you still think the unpredictable nature of what we do, the waiting is still quite alarming. And you haven't got enough money in the bank. Like you're kind of thinking, okay, God, this is unpredictable.
Even today, all four of us are not out of the woods. We never will be. The only thing that I think we have going for us is that if our careers were to end soon, there would be sort of a downhill trajectory of maybe 3 or 4 jobs before you're done. Like that's the only sort of pad we have built in there. Whereas like back when Jude was starting, maybe, this could be your last job. I think the 4 of us are at a point now, with all of our, we're so lucky to have had our sort of success, but it still only is built in like a 3-job off-ramp. Before nothing ever.
Not if I release Sean's texts. I think it's going to it's going to be immediate.
Yeah.
But
I could use any.
Jude, I will. So Jude, then because I'm kind of building towards this, which is the film I think that I first that I as a consumer in a film goer and as a young actor, aspiring to do stuff, noticed you in a film that I to this day adore and talk about science fiction, a really pure, I think one of the great science fiction films, Gattaca. You and Ethan. That performance, that film.
Andrew Niccol?
Andrew Niccol. What an incredible, Andrew Niccol, amazing filmmaker. But that film was really remarkable. Talk a little bit about that, would you?
Well, it was the first film that brought me to Hollywood, and it was the first time, and it was one of those rare occasions where you read a script and you just can't believe it's as good as it is, and that they want you to be in it. That was pretty extraordinary. I was thinking a lot about that recently, and Ethan was such an incredible teacher, really. To meet and work with Ethan at that early formative moment was really impactful. He's such a gent, and he takes it so seriously, but with such a humor and a creative sort of approach. And I remember watching him, and we had all our stuff together. That was really influential. But moving to the States and making a film, and I remember going and rehearsing on the Sony lot, and it was a dream. It was kind of fantastical.
Where did you move to? Where was your first spot?
What was it called? I stayed.
Were you down there in Culver City near the lot?
No, I was in West Hollywood. I was in one of those funny little hotels where you've got a kitchen in the corner, something sweet. Summerfield Suites, something like that.
Yeah.
Where you have a bed and a little everything's in one room.
But, wasn't as glamorous as you thought the Hollywood sort of journey would be.
Honestly, I was just happy someone else was picking up the bill, and
at that point you were just happy it wasn't raining. I think you talk about Ethan. First of all, I do want to say this, and we've had him on the show. We're such fans. I think he is such an unheralded artist, and I don't usually use that word as much but sometimes it makes me cringe. But he is such an artist, that guy, and he is. And started, young, as we know. Yeah. He was a child actor.
We're talking about Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, sorry, Tracy. We're talking about Ethan Hawke. He's one of those guys. He could have, if he had more artistry, Jason could have been him. But he's one of those. And I say that, Jason is, and I love what you do.
Feels like a compliment.
No, it is.
Kind of look into it a little bit.
No, but
unpack that.
Yeah, he is. No, he is. He's kind of like. I really do. I love. All his performances are so good and so raw and amazing. And I love his approach and hearing him talk about art. And so when you told me that you learn a lot, I believe that. I believe that relationship was inspiring.
Generous, too. That's another thing. Really generous on set, and aware that he was working with someone who was pretty green. I mean, I'd only done a couple of films and I'm still a little bit like this, but just warm and it was a very happy time. But here's the funny thing, again, too young to realize that doesn't mean the film's going to be a hit, right? So you're sitting there going, wow, I'm in Hollywood and it's really good. And it is, it's a great film. And the proof with that one is that people still refer to it. Thank you for what you said. I mean, you're right, it holds up.
Oh my God.
But at the time, it just sort of disappeared. And I kind of, that was my first taste of, oh, you got to keep trying. You got to keep throwing the spaghetti at the wall because nothing until it sticks, right?
But, and I think, it's funny. You do have that, again, as a consumer of it and somebody who watched it and adored it. To me, it was a hit in the sense that it worked and it was brilliant and all that kind of. So I walked out of the theater with whomever and saying, like, God, that was an incredible film and blah, blah, blah. So I've sort of put it in that place that it's an incredible film. I don't know if
funny how that happens.
Yeah, the accounts at the studio.
Sticks. No, exactly. But it's funny how, if it stays in your, I mean, it's not one of those we look back on and go, well, it worked at the time. But, again, this is why it's such a shame in a way that films are judged on their, opening weekend, box office.
Yes.
You think, let's come back and re-review this in 10 years, 5 years, 10, 20 years.
Well, that's one of the things I like about streaming, right? Like, there is no sort of scorecard. There's no sort of results. It's just, it's up there. And if you like it, you tell somebody about it, and then they watch it, they might like it. And it's just, people then experience it when they want, how they want, and I like that it's just on the merits. It's not qualified by.
And old back catalogs get rediscovered again, right? Someone was saying that Grey's Anatomy is this show is suddenly being watched by everybody.
Oh, all these shows. There's what's the show? The Suits.
Yeah.
Suits has had this thing where people are like, oh, have you watched Suits? And
but I wonder what the algorithm or their thing says to, let's try Suits, let's try Grey's Anatomy, I wonder.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's interesting. Jude.
Sorry, Sean.
I was just, you go. You know
what? I'm going to
I was just going to say this, which is, so you do Gattaca and you come out and it brings you out here and it kind of introduces and brings you to Hollywood. And then what was the gap? You did that and then you did, I want to say that you did, the time between that and Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
Because those are both late 90s films that were really amazing, impactful films.
Yeah, Ripley really raised my game because of the nominations and the other people in it. There was a little bit of there were a few, tumbleweed moments between Gattaca and Ripley where, because Gattaca hadn't been a financial hit, I did a couple of smaller parts, but still there's that thing of, it's not consistent. And Ripley really was a leap for me.
And then you were on the set with another gem, Matt Damon. I'll bet you you had a great time with him too.
Yeah, I mean, he could be, he's a little,
he's not bright, but...
no, he's not bright. Yeah. Matt's really not that bright.
But
he's really hot and cold, let's be honest. And he blew it. He blew it at Wordle this morning. I will say...
Hey, I busted 2 days ago. I bet you did too.
I did not. Everybody else busted on that day, and I did not.
What was
I got a 6.
Wait, what was it again? Was it radar or something like that?
No. I'll tell you right now, because Bob texted me about it, and he was like, what did you get today?
Have you tried Quordle?
Oh, yeah, don't get him started, Jude.
I do Quirtle, Octurtle, and Wordle, all three, every morning with Matt and this 2 other guys, every morning for 3 years.
That's consistent.
Every morning.
Okay, get back to your guest.
So, get back to your guest. Wait, so you do a couple tumbleweeds and then you do Ripley. Did you know Anthony Minghella before?
No, I was working. I did this really odd little film with a director from Hong Kong, and Anthony's wife was one of the producers on it, and he was watching the rushes for that while he was casting. I mean, what I look back on that decision.
That's the way that works.
I don't know how. I mean, but I don't know what he saw. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So some raw talent and somebody pretty easy on the eyes.
Hell of a leap, though.
Mm-hmm. Was his daughter Hannah around? The great Hannah Minghella?
The great Hannah. And Max, who's now a director, was like a little boy on set of that. He was, I think, I'm going to say 10.
Was Hannah there too?
Hannah was around, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And in that way, now that was shot in some beautiful spots too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I look, on location in all down the coast in Italy. We rehearsed at the famous Cinecittà studio in Rome, and then we shot in Rome. We shot in Ischia, which is this beautiful island off Naples.
Near Capri.
There's 3, then Progida, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. But you're down there. Sorry, I just want to say, because this is so delicious to me. It's you,
Sean. I think Will's falling in as much in love with him as I am, and I'm going to battle him. I'm going to have a duel with Will.
I've been in love with Jude since we had that dinner over at our buddy's house a few months ago.
What a great dinner!
Yeah,
it was a nice
you were there too.
I thought it was a table for 2.
We were all there. That was a great dinner. So it was you and Matt and Gwyneth Paltrow and Phil Hoffman.
The
great
Blanchett.
Phil Hoffman, Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Anthony Minghella directing, and you're in Italy. And my question is, when you do something like that, it's kind of like the Gattaca thing in a way, but it's different. Are you able to, in the moment, did you appreciate it? Did you have moments where you went like, man, this is really amazing, or not? Is it wasted on you?
Not as much as I wish I had.
Yeah.
There was a bit of me looking back.
But now you can, I'll bet.
I'm better at it. But there's, in that, I kind of thought, well, this is what movies are like, sitting on a beach and sailing a yacht and hanging out with all these cool young movie stars. And it was exceptionally special because of the goodwill that Anthony had deservedly been given through the success of The English Patient, and the people that he had assembled were, pretty extraordinary group from the cast to all the crew. But it was a great experience, and I wish I'd been a little better at just living in it and realizing how special it was.
Yeah.
But the number of projects that you've done. Speaking about your ability to assess whether you're, on board a sinking ship or not, it's just the number of projects that you've done is just outstanding.
And they're all like huge hits.
Well, there's a lot of people that have worked a lot, but it's just because they don't like home, and they'll just do whatever. Everything you've done has been incredible. You've certainly been incredible in it. Some of out of out of your own power,
JB. But some of but also not just the volume, but how different a lot of them have been tonally.
And also just like doing Shakespeare on Broadway and shit. I mean, like this guy, you don't know who you're dealing with this guy.
Jude, I remember like Jason just said, all of these great things that you've done your whole life. And then I remember when Spy came out with Melissa McCarthy, and I was like, is that Jude Law? Like, it was the greatest left-hand turn ever. I was like, I've never seen Jude do something like this. It was so good.
I was just mad about her. I just so wanted to work with her.
She's incredible.
And witness. I think a lot of, honestly, I've been thinking about this recently, about what kind of drives me. And a lot of it is curiosity. It's why I've kind of done different franchises too. I sort of, I'm a bit of a film nerd. Like, I just love going to the movies and going to, seeing stuff and having an opinion, but I'm also kind of dead curious about how do they do that? How's that done?
Yeah.
And she was flying at that time, and her and Paul Feig, that work that they were doing, I just wanted to witness it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I did not feel I was in my comfort zone. I was sat, there's a scene opposite her. I suddenly realized very clearly, oh, you're the straight guy. Okay, this is fine. I can play that. Because Paul's coming over writing all these notes, going, try that, try this. And she's just firing off. I'm holding it together, just trying to keeping a straight face, right? I'm just don't lose it and really make a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
But my goodness, the speed and the ideas, and then talk about going off on a tangent. You're sitting there thinking, what are you talking about?
She's an absolute comedy titan. I mean, Melissa McCarthy is great. And also, by the way, it should be mentioned, our good friend, my good friend, Jason, yours too, Pete Serafinowicz is in that film as well.
Yes.
Spy.
The great.
Lovely Pete.
He's fantastic in that film. There's a scene where the two of them, I think, handcuffed together, right? And they're kind of lying on top. So it's a weird sort of sexy make-out scene. Can we escape? God, he's good.
He's so good. By the way, a great Pete Serafinowicz story. Last year, I hadn't spoken to him in about 18 months, maybe almost 2 years. And we were quite good friends years ago. I mean, we still are, but we sort of hadn't talked to each other. And out of the blue, I texted him, so what else is going on? And after I saw that it had been a couple of years, and he answered almost immediately, that's about it. so funny.
So Jude, with all of the great incoming calls I'm sure you get, how do you, I'm sure you base your choices on many things, but is there one thing that is above all else will drag you towards a project? Is it the director?
Sorry, I was just so resisting saying money. No.
Yeah, of course.
Well, but I mean, look, there's everyone needs it. Is it filmmaker? Is it role? Is it location? Is it money? Is it schedule? Is there one thing that is most important to you ever, or does it change?
I kind of balance it up. I love the idea of a challenge, a little bit like the role I play in The Order, which just felt like something completely new and different, and the opportunity to work with someone like Justin on that, who I knew I was in good hands, and he'd sort of take me there.
He's the director.
But, those films, Justin Kurzel, and he that experience was a very good experience, but you have to balance a film like that with, then I was like, okay, now I need to pay my rent. So, you got to kind of find something that's going to balance that out, but also
Black Rabbit.
I'm curious.
God, fuck Jay, what a shot in the nuts. He did your thing for the money. Fuck, dude.
Well,
you're in love with the guy. You've had a great experience, and he only did it for the fucking dough.
And while he was there, he did a great job.
You're a paycheck to him. Keep going, dude. Sorry, I interrupted.
It's. I mean, you mentioned kind of all the boxes that you check, right? All of them at a different time have a different order. So sometimes, it's where are we filming this? Who's in it? All of those things come to play.
Family, like we're bringing kids and all that kind of stuff is important too.
Yeah, so I mean, specifically over the last 2 years, I've got a house that's being renovated, and I'm having one of those nightmares. And it's just going on and on and on. So me and my wife and the two little ones, I've just been like, okay, well, let's just travel the world. Let's just go wherever I'm working. So we've been
2 years.
For 2 years. So we really have. We've been in California, then we were in Canada, and then France, and then Australia, and then New York. So it's been wild. But that so it really has been just following the following the work.
And the kids love it?
And they're very little. They're both under 5, so it's not like you know. They're as long as we're both there, looking calm and happy. They're calm and happy.
Exactly. Do you ever find, like, I always find that fascinating when you do have the schedule that you do. Do you miss a home base? Do you miss a groundedness to come back to?
I thought I would more, but I really haven't. And we've found some really beautiful homes around, and some not so great, but mostly really good experiences. I tell you what, I have found hard. I found it really hard going back to UK, because without my house, like I had this lovely home there I've always lived there, but going there as a visitor and sort of renting something, it just doesn't feel right. It feels weird. It's really disconcerting. I was just there for a couple of weeks to see my family, my parents, and I don't know. But equally, I've learned I quite like being a foreigner. I quite like being a foreigner in a city. It feels slightly less emotionally tiring. I don't know why. In the UK, if I read the news about the UK and I'm like, not again. What are they doing? I feel so emotionally. It's like your uncle letting you down. You're like, don't behave like that.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that here.
Whereas
you read the paper here. Yeah.
Here I'm like, well, it's not my problem.
Yeah, that's nice.
So when you go back and you're sitting with your parents at dinner, is there ever a time to reflect and go back like we're doing now about, hey, remember when you guys kind of lit the fuse in me with the theater and stuff? Like, things have worked out. And
a little bit. My mum's not so well. The light in my mum is
I'm sorry.
Or the spirit of my mum is slowly fading. She's happy and she's not in pain, but she's not who she was very much the lightning in our family. She was the kind of trailblazer. She was the one putting on these plays and packing up our crazy little French de chevaux car and saying, right, we're going to drive across France and camp. And she just was full of energy. And really, I think a big part of why I'm doing what I do and my sister does what she does. So I miss that with her. I certainly have that with my sister still and my dad. And that's fun. It's nice looking back at those. It's interesting, isn't it? The further away you get from that formative time, how you can reflect on what impact it was having on you and what direction it was sending you in,
Mm-hmm.
We'll be right back.
And back to the show.
And having done all the stuff that you've done and really proven any point you ever would have wanted to make or make people proud or yourself proud, like, I can't imagine that there's any box left unchecked, but you tell me, is there something, if it came your way, you go, that I have not yet done or I've been avoiding? Is it a freaking musical? Is it a voice in an animated film? You've just touched so many things.
There are definitely filmmakers out there that I admire immensely and would really love to work with. And And there's the odd part, but not sort of. There are roles in Shakespeare that I'd love to play one day on stage, but that's sort of not necessarily immediately.
So brave.
Mm-hmm. But honestly, something you and I talked about, and something you're so good at encouraging, I've seen you do it with others, is directing.
Yeah,
I love the idea of it. It scares the hell out of me. You make it look incredibly straightforward and easy. I don't know how you do that. Watching you direct, lead that team out of the gate and perform in it was really quite remarkable, mate.
Wow.
And it kept making me
having
think.
A partner like you makes it easy. Truly.
It made me really look at it and consider again.
You should.
It scares me because of the scale of the decisions.
Is it one of those because you thought like, fuck, if this guy could do it, then anybody could?
Exactly. That's
I get that. That makes sense.
It's not as scary.
If this simpleton, I talk a little bit about it because he is, and Jason is, and we are so proud of him. We love him dearly, and we're so proud of what he's been able to do.
Yeah.
What it was like working with Jason as a director. Talk a little bit about that because we do talk about it.
Sorry
we haven't had anybody
buddy.
on here really to talk about that experience.
Okay. The mood. First, so talking to those who
Talk
don't
about his
know,
explosion.
Yeah, none.
The explosion, yeah.
This is the thing. You guys will know that the most important thing, I think, on a film set is the atmosphere, right? It's a massive team, all these different groups and skill sets doing all these different things, but they all want to be appreciated. They all want their time, and they all need their time. And Jason is just a master at keeping that going. And the spirit on of this company, I've got to tell you, cast, crew, everyone, was so positive. I mean, that was demonstrated at the end. We had a wonderful wrap party. Everybody's there with their family. Everyone stays from early doors to the close. I mean, it was so
Which is unusual.
Popular.
That's unusual.
Yeah, it is unusual.
Yeah.
And that was led by him. And the style of the piece was set up by Jason because it was how he saw it, and he, like I said, led us out of the gates. He directed the first two, and so setting that up and getting that right and sort of, what's the word, ingraining it in the DNA of the piece. And then as an actor, right? And then he's also there as an actor playing opposite you, leading by example, but also there was there are those moments where suddenly it's just those little tiny words of suggestion or little tiny nudges like, this is great, this is good, but should we go down this path? Should we try this? And it's those moments where you feel like, oh, this is so much fun. This is right. You're kind of playing. And you're not, even if you're doing a really dramatic scene, you're kind of giggling to yourself, thinking like, oh, we're doing this. Like, you know.
And our parents are out of town.
Yeah. And we're allowed to. We can keep going.
Yeah, JB, do you have that a little bit of I can't believe I got the keys to the car here?
Oh, every second of the day.
And all the toys. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
yes, exactly. And it was also sort of like, you got to be such a smarty pants when you're directing and be sort of serious, and you got to think about every corner of the room. But this character I was playing was such a dingbat, like a lovely sort of just simpleton. And so having to throw that switch in between, okay, here we go, ready? Yeah, okay, let's roll. And then I was sort of joking. I told Jude, I said, the sort of the what do you call it? The fix or the secret to going into my character. All I have to do is just separate my jaw. Because this guy's kind of a mouth breather. I go from director to this character by just separating my jaw. And we're ready to go. Here we go. Let's roll.
That's really funny.
Well, I will say before you'd actually directed before, but I will say our experience of working on Arrested Development, Jason was the ultimate team captain, and I also learned a lot about what it takes to be a captain.
Yeah.
No, but what it takes to be a captain from that guy. It was potentially the only thing I learned because he has nothing else to teach us.
I can get you to 10. I can count. You can count to 10 if I can teach you.
What's your impression, Jude? Just quickly, thin slice of Sean. Take a look at him over there.
I look like a thin slice
take
of white bread.
I mean, and be honest. Be brutally honest.
I like the idea. I'm going to join Sean in that bubble. I think I like the idea of being pushed around.
Just zip him in.
Yeah, let's just
He's
go.
just trying to keep his powder dry for the Star Wars section of the interview, which we can start now, Shawnee, if you're all set and ready to go.
But I have one question before. I am ready to go on that. But one question before.
Scotty slides in on a chair like Saturday Night Live Weekend Update.
just like this.
And we're just saying stuff. No, Jude, we touched on it before a little bit. I want to go back just for a second. That kind of that time when you're sitting between jobs and you're like, God, is something going to come? And that uncertainty of what we do. When you were younger and you went through those, did you have other jobs? Is there a time where like, God, I should start thinking of something else to do with my life because I don't think anything's going to come. And then Talented Mr. Ripley comes or whatever it is.
Fortunately not, and I lived a pretty simple life early on. And then I became a father pretty young, and that would be all-consuming. So that I was always, there was always something to do.
So fatherhood didn't scare you into thinking about another occupation?
Well, luckily,
like more steady?
It was never that. It was never so much that I suddenly thought, and if it was, then I was usually saved by the life support of another job or a potential another job.
For sure.
But I realized in the last couple of years, it's been a really big shift for me with my company because suddenly, even if, they're not coming to fruition, although we've had a pretty good run so in the last couple of years, just having the sense that you kind of got your hands on the reins and you can develop stuff and you're communicating with writers and directors. And
this is Riff Raff with the great Ben Jackson.
Great Ben Jackson, who's been alongside me for like 22 years, and the company has given me a much better sense of navigating those moments of thinking, because ultimately you're still an actor, right, waiting for someone to think you're right for a part.
Right.
Yeah, but if you can cook your own food, that's a real privileged place to be, and you don't take it lightly, and you work really, really hard as a producer, as does he.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I like the process of. I love finding ideas. I love introducing writers to directors and seeing that kind of blossom and bloom, and that is a side I love it.
That's the way it happened with Order, right? Didn't you contact Justin Kurzel for this?
That's right. That's right.
Tell what was that conversation like? Did you know him before?
No, not at all.
You were just a fan of...
massive fan. And you know when you suddenly someone, and it's never me, I'm really good at chiming in, having an opinion, but I'm never very good with a blank page. You know when people go, okay, let's discuss the directors, I always go,
Yeah.
Right.
And you can't be, I want to be smart, the smart one who goes, I've got a left of field idea. I'm always like, you go first. And then I'm really strong to go, no, not them.
Yeah.
But someone mentioned Justin, I think it was Zach, or it could have been Brian
Zach
Haas.
Balin.
Zach Balin, our wonderful writer, who we worked together on Black Rabbit. And it just was one of those, oh yes, this is perfect fit. This guy looks at really dark areas and kind of toxic people, but puts them in a world where you start, it's not about empathizing with them, but you understand them, and he makes it kind of safe for you to go into their worlds. And then he also operates on this high energy. He's a big guy, and he loves capturing the energy of scenes and drama, and he was just the perfect fit. So yeah, we zoomed with him. He was in his house in Tasmania with his big beard, and it looked literally like, and his hair all blown. It looked like he'd just come off hauled in a whale and kind of come in and sat there like this and just blew us away with his insight. He's like, yeah, I think I can do this.
Yeah, and then when we were looking to get a director for the finale of Black Rabbit, Zach and Jude and Zach's partner Kate, they suggested Justin Kurzel, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding? We're not going to get Justin Kurzel to direct the finale of this thing?" And they're like, "No, we can ask him." I'm like, "What do you mean you can? How do you know him?" Well, we just finished a movie with him. Come on, you guys just did a movie. So I had no idea that they had just worked with Justin, and thank God it went well, because they reached out and asked him, and
he answered the phone.
They said, yeah. And was the reaction from the crew when he came to, was there like, now we got a director on set?
Now we can get going. Exactly.
I saw that.
There was a lot of relief.
Teed that up.
I know. But by the way, if I don't do it, if I didn't say that, Jason would call me after and say, "Are you okay? Like, are you sick?"
You were a little slow today.
You were slow.
Under the weather.
Let's talk about Star Wars.
Yes,
Sean?
Andor, Acolyte. Where does Star Wars Skeleton Crew come in the line?
I mean, it's absolutely standalone. Right?
Oh, it is. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it fits in. I think it's around the same time as The Mandalorian. But here's what got me. I was 6, 7 when the first film came out, and I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, I don't remember going. I maybe saw The Rescuers or 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, totally.
And then Star Wars. And so to me, that was cinema. I was like, holy cow, what the hell is this? And not only that, for the next 5 years, it was what I played. I realized, I was living it. I was running around my yard going, pew, pew, right, I'm Han, I'm Vader.
Still am.
Yeah. And, so it was formative. And John Watts just had this awesome idea. He called me and said, so look, what if we, all that awe and wonder and dazzle that we had as kids, what if we put the kids in that world? So it's taking Goonies, it's taking normal kids who kind of argue and they don't get on with their parents, or they don't get on with each other, or they don't like school, they run away, they get lost, and they're in that world.
Yeah, that's cool. Wow. That's cool. That's really cool.
I was just like, this is a great idea.
Yeah,
I
love that.
Have you enjoyed that style of work with the sort of the volume stages, the green screen, the?
It was all volume, luckily. Yeah. I mean, I think had it been all green, I don't know that I would have enjoyed it as much. I've done that before. The volume is really wonderful. I mean, it's super.
Really?
For Tracy, this is a stage that's basically every wall is like a big movie screen. So you're
with
kind
high
of living,
definition.
you're living in an atmosphere.
So they put the flooring in. So say you're on a moon, the floor is dust and sand and rocks and boulders, but it goes right up to the volume screen, and then the perspective of the screen just carries on. So you can be standing in a desert that disappears for hundreds of miles with ships flying around you. And with a wind blowing, right? They use a wind machine. So you're for all intents and purposes, you're on that moon.
And so it's not just for the viewer too. As an actor, when you're performing, you're actually seeing that. You're experiencing that as well.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And the same goes for then a more cluttered set, like a market. We did this huge spaceport, and they built all the the machine, the bars and the stalls and what have you, and each avenue looks like it just goes on and on and on and on, and you've got creatures crossing over, and of course, what you've really only got is, let's say, 50 foot of that, and then the rest is just all on these huge screens.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, that's so amazing.
I want to go back to
Sean, you could do one where you could have your dad, like he's there. You know what I mean? On the screen.
I don't think there's screens big enough.
And you can have it so that he's not leaving, he's staying.
Yeah.
You can just put the screen on pause.
And he's not leaving your family. Wait, before we get out of the Skeleton Crew world, to talk about who else is in that with you, because I think I read somebody that I know is in that with you. Who else is in it?
Kerry Condon. And Tunde from TV on the Radio, and then there are the 4 kids. Do you know Tunde? He's a lovely guy.
I met him a couple times. Really cool. I'm a big fan of TV on the Radio.
Yeah, me too. And here's an interesting piece of trivia.
He was great in Rachel Got Married. Remember, he was in that.
That's
film?
right. That's right. Demi film.
Yeah.
Did they play all the music live in that? I think they did.
Did they really?
Like in real time? I think that was the idea on that film, that because remember, they're in a band and they're all playing at the wedding.
I love the way that film looked. Do you remember the color of that film? And
Is it Ted Demme or Jonathan Demme?
Oh, good question. Jonathan.
Both. Yeah,
Jude, when you named all those...
Nick Frost. Is Nick Frost in it?
Nick Frost is the voice of a droid.
Oh, I love Nick Frost.
Nick Frost is one of my favorites. Sorry, Sean. He's one of my favorite of all time. Frost. I love Nick. He's so...
Me too.
We all know he's so fucking funny.
Yeah, he is funny.
No, anyway.
When you were going, Jude, when you were talking about going from city to city to, in the last few years, just going all those cities you named, is it hard to keep a schedule for eating properly, working out, taking care of yourself with the time differences, and then living in a trailer and then coming back to a hotel? It seems like to me, it seems so disruptive. Yeah. But a gorgeous life, because we're all doing what we love to do. But how do you maintain a good schedule for yourself?
Allow a lot of time when I land somewhere to get over jet lag. Like, I'm not one of those people who can just pick straight up and get. I'm like, give me a couple of days, because I think jet lag really is like an illness. You got to kind of love yourself a bit and go. It's like you've got flu. Just go to bed, you know. And but you've also then once you're out of that. I enjoy, I really like keeping fit, so I train quite hard every day, usually before I go to work. So whatever that time is, I usually go do something for an hour.
Right.
And then I usually take my own food so I can eat when I really want. I can't be doing on a set where they're like, lunch, and you're like, it's 5 p.m.
Right.
What are you talking like?
Right.
Yeah.
What was I meant? I got to eat at the right time.
Right.
So I eat, I get up and I eat in the morning. I make sure I've got food, so when it's midday or 1, I eat my lunch.
Yeah.
Are you particular about your food? Like, do you eat quite healthily and et cetera?
Yeah, I'll eat anything, but I can feel myself getting a bit slower and stodgier if I don't eat well.
Yeah.
But I am kind of got a funny relationship. Like, I really love a good restaurant. I love good food. But equally, it's just fuel. You know what I
like
mean?
lamb. You like lamb?
I love lamb. Lamb chops. Ooh.
Yes,
Hang on a
I love
second.
lamb chops.
Hey, man, we're not doing non sequiturs out of left field right now.
I love lamb.
You know what? I had lamb last night.
I want lamb chops.
I had
Did you?
lamb last night. Yeah, I did.
Wait, there at the house, or did you go out? Did you go out to a restaurant, Willie?
No, I had lamb at home here. Yeah, and you know what? I was really upset.
Was it a lamb shank?
It was. They were lamb chops, and I didn't have any. Somehow there was no mint jelly or mint sauce.
You see, my wife loves the mint jelly. I'm not fussed by that. As long as there's as long as it's got a little seasoning on it.
Yeah.
I really need it. You know, Jude, honestly, I don't know about you guys. I mean, we could just keep this going forever, probably, if you wanted to.
I told you.
I know. Jason, you were so right. He's and we're going to save this for the wrap up, but he is something else. Jude, what an absolute delight. We have kept you
No, for me too.
Oh, God.
I'm so happy you did this. We'll do it again when Black Rabbit comes on in about a year.
Yes,
we got it.
And I'm crazy about you. Love you. I'm going to talk to you. I'm actually going to call you right after the end of this because I need to ask you a question about something. But thank you, buddy, for doing this. Enjoy the rest of your press trip. Stay rested and get back to the family and enjoy the winter.
Yeah.
It's what a joy and so lovely to see the three of you. Like this has been a joy. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Jude.
Great luck with The Order. Everybody go see The Order. It's so damn good.
Go see anything that Jude's
people to see it
in.
and talk
Go
about it.
see it. Go see it. Go watch it. Go stream it. Go see it. Jude, you are a gentleman. Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Thanks,
Take care, buddy.
Goodbye.
Best wishes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Do I do that?
Yeah.
He did it. He did it.
He's fantastic.
So, guys, I'm telling you, this guy, if you think he's great on a podcast or a Zoom call, try going in the trenches with him for 8 months. It's just
you always talked about how much joy you had with him. Jason.
You really did, and it was unsolicited. Like you would just be like, God, that Jude Law. While you were making it from every stage of it, you're like, God, this guy is great. God, blah blah blah. Like you were just, and you meant it.
Yeah. He's one of the best partners ever. I'll tell you, one of the other ones was guy we mentioned was Matt Damon. Did that that little bit on air, and it's just the level of experience and professionalism with these guys is just not to be undervalued on a group
also probably comes from gratitude too. Like we all know what it's like not to work, and then when you get, when you're lucky enough to be in that
they definitely
position.
appreciate where they're at.
JB, have you ever seen that Gattaca?
I did, but I don't remember it, which is not
Sean,
uncommon.
you've seen it, right?
I can't believe I've never seen it.
Sean,
I know. I'm gonna watch it.
I really urge people, and I don't want to. I've waxed on a lot about it, but that film is really a remarkable film. It's really good, and Jude is so. It's hard to imagine that it's one of the first things he did because he's so excellent in it.
He's one of those actors never sucks.
Never ever. You're exactly right, JB. He's in the John Goodman school.
Right.
He never ever sucks. Ever.
Yeah. Actors who know kind of what their goalposts are and have the discipline to not, or the overindulgence to step outside of that. Like he finds a version of himself in every character that he does, and yet he never plays anything safe. So, he's just
pretty cool.
Thank you for bringing him on.
I was so happy to be able to have him because obviously he should have been your guest, but I was happy to. Well,
I'll get him next
I
year.
wanted him a long time ago before you guys started working together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I wanted him a long time ago, and then it just this is when it happened. I'm glad that we made it through the entire interview without talking about fucking Robert Downey. You know what I mean?
That guy.
About Sherlock, because Downey has gotten so much fucking free air. I'm so mad at Downey.
What?
Because why?
Just in general, just because.
Just success. The success.
His success, and I know he's very deserving of it, blah, blah. But I'm just kind of,
let's have a counterpoint. Where do you think he's over-indexing?
Opinions.
Yeah.
He'll call me. You want to talk about FaceTime? Downey FaceTimes in a way like it's so out of the blue.
Uninvited FaceTime.
And then he's in the bath, and he'll go, I was thinking what you should do, and I'm like, fucking what, man?
Towel off and just call me or write me.
Yeah, I do love him. I do love him to death, though. I will say,
he's doing a big play. Go see his play.
Go see McNeil with our good friend Robert Downey.
I think it's probably closed by now. What depends when this airs?
Oh yeah, it depends on when it airs.
Lincoln Center.
But I tell you what never closes is Jude Law's talent.
Right,
so good.
That is
it's always open.
Always open, 24/7. Think about Jay. You said, and Sean, you named out think about all the different films that he's. When I was thinking about,
but you're not even touching his theater. This guy has been on Broadway with Othello or Hamlet or Macbeth, or probably all three of them. I think he got a Tony nomination for one of those, or maybe one.
I mean, he's just done. Yeah, we did not mention the Sherlock Holmes films, which were major hits. Road to Perdition, you ever seen that? Incredible.
Yeah, so good.
Incredible.
I love that movie.
Cold Mountain, he got an Academy Award nomination for. That was amazing. AI, He was in that film AI back in
Yeah, I love that.
like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Enemy at the Gates. You ever seen that film, Enemy at the Gates, where he plays? I think he plays like a sniper in Stalingrad. Is that the one?
Oh,
ever seen
wow,
that?
really? No, I haven't seen that one.
Dude.
I'm up for all the same parts all the time.
You are.
3 callbacks.
You've been up for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The animated version of each of
No,
these.
Have you-
real snipers? Yeah, real
Really?
snipers. Yeah, Sniper City. One's called Sniper City. The other one's called
Sniper City.
Sniper. Another one's called Sniper. I didn't even know her.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I haven't heard of it. I wonder who all of those
are out.
were
Those are out
written.
now.
I wonder who they were.
Those were written. Bye. Jason doesn't even say it.
Say bye, Jason.
Bye.
SmartLess.
SmartLess is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Rob Armjarv, Bennett Barbaco, and Michael Grant Terry.
SmartLess.